Shout out to Only Logical. I was listening to a video he was doing, and I wanted to give my additional thoughts. He actually played a video. His sister had some really good insight talking about the pro-black to white man pipeline, and a little bit different for his channel, but it's the same, but it's kind of different. So she actually made some really good points. Check out his video. I'll share it in the post eventually, so y'all can see it. But it's Only Logical's recent video. And in that video, they were kind of talking about how you become black women become obsessed with white men, and they, in their mind, they all find the magical white man that is different from all of the anger and racism. And they talk about they hate white people and shit like that. Now, if you notice, you generally don't hear black men say they hate white people. They call out the bullshit. And SWP, I think, does a really good job of doing this. Because at this point, you can call out the BS to the point where now you can showcase how white supremacy actually can fuck up white people if you buy into the Kool-Aid too damn much. Which is obviously, the problem with most sisters is the way most sisters approach white supremacy is from basically it's glorified womb talk, for a lack of a better term. It's basically their womb is not as valuable as the white womb. I've talked about this in the past, how the fundamental issue that black women have with white supremacy is they're not on par with white women. That is a fundamental difference than what black men's issue with white, quote unquote, white supremacy is. And a big part of that is because women nest, men basically challenge the environment, women nest in the environment. So women are really not looking to truly create their own spaces on around blackness, because you have to want to be black. And I've told you over and over that subconsciously most black women don't want to be black. Subconsciously most black women want to be white or light skinned or whatever. They don't really have a real thing that anchors them to blackness. Black men have athleticism, they have different things. But women don't. And they project that, they really don't. And this is why they become in this infinite loop about racism that really never go anywhere. Because if you notice, women never talk about, and I don't expect women to, because women don't build. It's just not really in their nature to do that. Women nest, they don't build. And that's not some misogyny. Give me an example. See in WNBA, see in anything. Even how women protest. Women don't say, I want these resources so I can do this with them. Women don't even talk about really equality. They really care more about equity, which is just put me on par at the end of the day because I exist. Not because of anything I've done or what I plan to do. Even the way they argue about racism, they never argue it from we did this for America economically for free, and this is why reparations are owed. They argue it because give it to me because I wanna, and I'm talking about even the college educated and liberal arts folks, which understand something. If you're in liberal arts, if you're paying school, I'm gonna keep it real. You should not get student loans for going to liberal arts. You should not be allowed. Here's a fun fact. Here's something I think, this is a hot take. You should not be allowed to pull out student loans for liberal arts school. There are certain classes or certain things you should not be able to take. Now, people will say, oh, well, they'll say that for African studies, whatever. If it's not seen as a practical way of engaging, the problem with that is we are in a for-profit school system. But ultimately, if you have what I call liberal arts degrees are useless. And yeah, there's something to be said about general thought and innovation. But if you're just having these philosophical conversations these philosophical conversations in school, and it's not tied to anything that's going to really feed the economy. Y'all not even running for politics. Y'all are just having this bullshit, man. It's fucking useless because we know how that story ends with mofos in debt and all that bullshit that motherfuckers are gonna be begging to get paid off. But that's besides the point. The reason why I did this video is you have people, when I see on TikTok some of these videos, people be posting up, coming through a live about can you be pro black and sleep white? It's always aimed at the men. It's always aimed at can you be pro black, as if you're gonna be kicked out of the community. And the problem is, especially on TikTok, is most people on TikTok are fucking cowards. I'm not even gonna hold you. Most of the dudes, most of the chicks, most of the motherfuckers cannot have an argument for argument. They cannot have an actual debate. They have to be right, or whenever they about to get washed, and this didn't happen recently, but if they're about to get washed or exposed, they just get rid of the person. And they do this on Clubhouse too, which is why they're much worse on Clubhouse. Most of these people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're just talking from their fucking feelings. And unfortunately, shit doesn't grow and shit don't build out of your fucking feelings. The truth is, on the question of can you be pro-black and sleep white? Here's my question. Because if the answer is no for you, you have to be willing to throw away all the black women as well as all the black men. See, the problem is we have these conversations and we like to aim it at the men because people like to conveniently hide behind the fact that men are quote unquote supposed to be leaders, and they'll cloak it behind that. We in the black community, women do shit. It's considered empowerment. When a woman, the question I would ask you is, how are you pro-black when you see it as empowering for a white man, a white woman, black woman to be with a white man? You actually see that as a win. And you wanna get upset at black men for dating outside their race. And it's like, that's not a pro-black conversation. That's a sexual regulation conversation. And when you understand how much of these women be fucking non-black men as much as they do, because see, that's a secret. It's a secret how much black women actually be throwing their pussy at non-black men. A lot of black women, they don't know the black women that do, and they don't bring that to the forefront. It's a lot more on par. I would argue that black women have probably almost as many sexual encounters outside of the race as black men. Because let's keep it all the way real. More women are able to make themselves available to, as a kind of a commentary would say, tizzy tours, but for sex than men can. Men have to earn sex. Women can throw pussy at a nigga, and eventually some dude is gonna, even though, I've told you, white incel, you can eliminate 90% of white incels if they're willing to deal with black women. And the funny thing about a lot of black women is black women talk about what they not gonna do for black men, not understanding that black men have the least beauty standards of any race of men. So if you're not willing to do it for black men, you actually don't put yourself in position, ironically speaking, to even have sex with other races of men as much as you otherwise would, because you're already checking out the game. Because in your mind, you're taking it to black men. You're basically checking black men and their quote unquote misogynistic standards as if if dudes really are on point. Dudes can't just date out. And this is something you're gonna hear me talk about a lot until the end of the year. I'm gonna constantly come back to the idea of leverage. Because that's the real thing that nobody, not BGS, not BGS may have alluded to it, but nobody is talking about this. In the game, people, nobody. Is leverage. It's all about leverage. The name of the game is leverage. That's going to be the two things I'm going to be known for. Gynocracy and leverage. So if you hear anybody talking about leverage, including the gang niggas, you already know where they got it from. How do you deal with black women without putting your hands on them to either fix the community, but at the same time do what's in your best interest? Leverage. Black men have to become masters of leverage. And you have heard me talk about the biggest thing, levers that black women use against black men is ego and guilt. Ego and guilt. Ego and guilt. Levers, leverage. When you break those things, meaning you do not allow a woman to tell you what a real man is. When you look at the kids, they like look, man. I have no problem with NBA YoungBoy, but NBA YoungBoy is who he is. But the fact that NBA YoungBoy is basically what Future used to be, an archetype. So it's nothing to do with him personally. If you tell me the NBA YoungBoy is a real man, that tells me you don't know what a real man is. The fact that you got a woman like Yaya Mayweather, who did not grow up in the hood, by the way, who is a nepo child, that basically was willing to stab another pregnant woman, deal with a dude that knowingly had her. And I say that with her because that's how you show this doesn't just go after people that are just in the hood. These people don't get to tell you what a real man is because they don't know what one is. They know what they're sexually attracted to. Well, men are sexually attracted to strippers. We're sexually attracted to whores. But we understand that whores don't necessarily make good mothers. You're not supposed to marry a whore. I mean, that's common sense. A dude knows the difference between a Vanessa Bryant and a pick your and Paul George getting with a stripper, or Drake having a kid with stripper. Dudes know the difference. They may act like they don't know the difference. Dudes know the crazy chicks. They this is why when they know, they even say it. Men don't play this game like we didn't know when it's obvious. Offset knew what he was dealing with when he got with Cardi B. And so my point is that it's about leverage. Leverage, leverage, leverage. What was his name? Quavo? Remember Quavo and Saweetie? When people were trying to place Quavo? I think it's Quavo. Correct me if I'm wrong. Remember when Saweetie tried to swing hard at Quavo? Like, if that would have connected, that would have hurt. Do you really think Saweetie would have ever swung like that on a white dude? Where is Saweetie now? She ain't making music. Saweetie is a prop. She's not even a real influencer. Saweetie is one of these propped up influencers. Now, Saweetie had went through a body transformation, getting titties, getting ass, because truth be told, she's a skinny little thing without that. I think she got a lip job too. Got and where she messed up, the irony is, had she still been with Quavo, she'd probably have a music career. But a lot of these chicks don't really be wanting music careers like that. They lazy hoes. I can't stand Doja Cat, but I will say Doja Cat does actually care about making music. Doja Cat ain't one of these just lazy bitches. Is just there. I will give people credit. Same thing with Janelle Monáe. I can't stand lazy hoes to get, because see, dudes aren't really allowed to do that. You got to be coming with something in order in the music industry. Or you do what Lil Nas X did, which is quote unquote the most. I mean, shoot, a big reason why Chloe Bailey is having the issues she's having is because it's all these lazy hoes in the market. But going back to my point, leverage is the name of the game. Men, I've said this in a different way. Men have to stop apologizing for doing what's in their best interest. I was listening to I was talking about this in the Discord, but I was listening to a Parent Pink Book Lessons video, and it was about Stephen A. Smith and Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama was talking about Stephen A. Smith will make a good housewife. First of all, that's some emasculating shit to say to a grown ass man. especially a man of Stephen A. Smith's caliber as far as what he's achieved being on ESPN on good goddamn well. He had to work his ass off to get there. Secondly, Stephen A. Smith didn't have nothing to say. He didn't say nothing to you first. So you're not responding. You're basically just throwing a shot. And thirdly, you would never have nothing to say. You're a coward. You would never have nothing to say like that to a white dude. You got white dudes calling you monkey and all of that, just like Serena Williams. And y'all don't never find a way to say nothing. Y'all want to be victims. But with a black man, all of a sudden you want to start some shit and then hide behind you're a first lady. So Stephen A. Smith can't really check you like he could because A, you a woman, and B, you a first lady. And then saying this shit in front of gay motherfuckers. So he got to navigate a minefield just to even address you. That's some cowardly shit. It really is. Oh, well, she would know she wasn't. When I hear a black woman say, I don't want a son, I don't want this, she has an issue with black men. And honestly, I don't give a fuck why. I really don't care. She didn't go through no sexual abuse or no bullshit like that. I don't care. I don't. I really don't. She kind of needs to keep her fucking mouth shut on shit like that. Honestly, Michelle Obama would do better just not even mentioning black men. Because between her brother right there, man, please. But the point is, black men get messed with as much as we do because we don't have leverage. Because we don't develop leverage. I've said it before, we don't want to, black men would rather be liked than have power. Black men would rather be liked than have respect. And you see it even with the women. That's a big reason why a lot of dudes are confused as to why non-black women don't treat black men like black women do. Now, there's other reasons for that, but that's a big reason why they're confused by that. SWP has kind of alluded to it. And black men fundamentally believe leverage is oppression. When you look at how black women talk about black men when it comes to the patriarchy, what they essentially, everything always comes down to, and the common denominator of it always is leverage. A black man that they're attracted to, other black women are attracted to. And because a lot of other black women are attracted to, that individual woman has less leverage, sexual leverage. And so they do things to try to create leverage, having a baby with a nigga. They may want the baby for genetic reasons too, but still having a baby with the nigga. So they can leverage child support or leverage the state. When they get divorced, this is not just black women, all women do this. It's just more pronounced in the black community because black women are helped by white supremacy to have more leverage than they otherwise have, because black women can leverage the state when they get a kid. This is why they're in trouble, as welfare is starting to be harder to deal with and harder to get. You got people in New York that they've been living off of Section 8 for welfare, and if they come off of that because of federal reasons, that's going to mess them up. They're going to need a man. You got women that have gone damn near generations, literally almost 2 generations, without having to need a man for nothing for the most part, other than extra shit that they want. And they don't know how to act. And the truth is, they can go to other races, but other races are going to get them crumbs compared to what black men would do. So black men are like, go. I wish black men would be more pronounced about that. Well, black men will only get crumbs. You're not going to get the full treatment they would give other races. The problem is we're used to crumbs from you. The problem is black men will get more out of these other races than we can get from you, which is insane. Because that's how the women of other races can do 25% of what they do for their own men. And that almost is double what we get from you. And that's what you call a deal in the marketplace. If you don't have a problem with, your grandkids looking whatever type of way. That's the price. And that's why I always say Latin women are your biggest threat, because you can mitigate the melanin drop off. You can mitigate that. That's why I always say, y'all worried about white women because, again, black women compare themselves. Basically, there's white women and there's everybody else. That's how black women see it. So the way they see racism is I'm not on par with that white woman for that white man. It's measured degrees how much black women are on that, but a lot of them they're on that, especially the ones that are pro-black. Or what it is it's about control in the black community and trying to gas men up to basically do some shit that basically is not in our own best interest. It's not in black men's best interest to support a black community that's a matriarchy. It's not. Because number one, a matriarchy cannot properly compete with other groups. The small hats get away with it because the small hats, the men lead the community. The women just have more power than other women typically do. They may have partnerships, but the men at the end of the day do run the finances and run all of that. At the end of the day. I think bar mitzvahs, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Hold on, let me, I ain't gonna say that yet. For the most part, bar mitzvahs are for boys. Now, newer communities do it for girls too, but bar mitzvahs traditionally have been just for boys. So, and plus their culture. So my point is, men have to get to the point, and I said this on Art's New Styles thing yesterday. Men have to get to the point where they're unapologetic and ruthless about leverage. You could call it the new kids want to call it applying pressure. Millennials will call it maybe interpreted as keeping your foot on their neck. You have to. This is really the domain of the game niggas. The game dudes, Alpha Male Strategies, Book of Alpharonomy, these guys, like all of these dudes, that they want to say the red pill is not the answer. Jason Black is probably one of the closest that actually talks about it, talking about power dynamics. But even Jason Black doesn't really go into detail. Jason Black borderline just saying having money. Basically having money and giving them something they don't want to lose. Yes, that's a big part of it, but emotional leverage is a big part of it too. Emotional leverage is a big part of it. What is emotional leverage? Emotional leverage is creating, this will sound like, and to be fair, I really don't like to do this. I know how to do it, but I don't generally do it. It is, in my opinion, the art of creating manufactured crises for for the emotional roller coaster that is a female. Meaning you almost have to create controlled situations where she doesn't know she's under, they're real to her, but you have it for the most part under control. Where you create controlled situations that allow a woman to go through their emotional. It's like, what, this is gonna sound bad. I don't give a fuck. I just want to put that disclaimer. This is like walking a fucking dog. If you have a dog, you don't necessarily do this with a cat, but a dog, you need to walk the dog. Why? Because the dog needs to have, I mean, shit, even humans. If you have a desk job or you're a trucker, my truckers, you know that, you have to exercise. You have to put yourself in position where exercise, they call it 10 steps. But because motherfuckers don't want to act like an adult, I'm just going to treat it like this. You got to walk your bitch. You have to emotionally walk your bitch. You know, women talk about they can't stand cheaters, but they don't want a man that doesn't have the capacity to cheat. And sometimes you have to demonstrate that capacity. Women get mad at cheaters because the best way for a man to check a woman is to let her know she's replaceable. The best way to let her know she's replaceable is by cheating on her ass. Now, obviously, if you're in a marriage, I don't recommend this for a variety of reasons, practical and moral. But if you're dealing with a chick that's acting up, Chick want to show her titties like Lala Anthony want to show her titties and embarrass me. Have a side baby. Now, obviously, I don't recommend that because marriage reasons. With Carmelo, shout out to Ant-Man, the Ant-Man plan. You have to let these chicks know at the end of the day, you can be written off. And there's nothing, and you have to have your shit under control enough that you can very much mitigate whatever damage she's able to do. And if you can't have leverage over her, and when I say leverage, it's really more about when it comes down to it. It's really about getting rid of her with minimum cost. For example, if you have bad credit, what do they typically, if they're going to approve a loan, what does a bank typically want? Let's say you're trying to go for a car, you have bad credit. They're going to give you crazy interest. They're not going to give you a lot of months. They're not going to make that available to you. And the thing is, they want a down payment. Typically, you put like 20% down. If you got bad credit, you might need to put, like, especially if you're getting a high-end car, let's say you're getting a $50,000 or whatever, let's say $30,000. You may need to come to them with 15 to let them know. Because they trying to get the rest of their money when they sell that car. Even though it's an inconvenience. Same thing with a house. If your credit ain't where it is, you ain't putting no 5% down, 10% down. You put under 20%, you're dealing with mortgage insurance. They need to know that it's going to hurt you way more than it's going to hurt them to not pay this bill. And you know how it is with cars. You might as well have to go to buy here, pay here. At the worst. And you already know what time that is. They're going to put leverage by putting a GPS tracker on whatever thing on your car that they can turn that bitch off if you don't pay. And some of their business models is built around you not paying. So they can go ahead and turn that off and go ahead and get the people to get that car and bring it back so they can resell it to somebody else. That's leverage. You dealing with chicks with a lot of bodies? Side chick status. That way you can be independent. I'm not investing a lot in you. You know what this is. I'm not trying to talk big. I'm trying to give people an idea of what this is. Some of y'all probably got a little bit, some of y'all is probably up on game more than I am, but I'm trying to bring this into practical terms. Because a lot of dudes try to make this shit ambiguous and magical, and it's really not. You have to put that, sometimes like these women hate being bored. I'm not your dancing monkey. But if there's a situation I need addressed, I'll address it in a certain way that basically walks you through an emotional roller coaster. Kill two birds with one stone. And a lot of dudes that don't like confrontation, and for me, I'm not doing confrontation in public. I ain't got no problem doing it in private, but in public, we're not doing that. That's a zero tolerance. And by the way, that's a zero tolerance I don't even tell women. I have zero tolerances that if you cross those lines, I'm not even letting you know. If you cross those lines, I don't even want to deal with you. Because if you're capable of crossing those lines, you're not going to get a second chance to cross it. And I don't tell people that. I don't tell people stuff so they could just not do it until it's convenient for them. Now, that's not true for everything, but that, like, you think you about to check me in public? Oh, yeah, I'm going to disappear on your ass. And that's the last time you're going to hear me. And when I say disappear, I mean, like, I'm just going to look at you. And you're not leaving with me. You better get you an Uber. And you know what I mean when I say that. Talk people. In fact, I'm going to keep it real. You'd have to really run up on me to do that. Because if I even think you're capable of popping off like that in public, because there's little things that women do to let me know they're capable, that's going to be an issue. I check my corners. When I'm outside with a chick, like, I don't deal with chick, like, I don't, like, that shit that Sha'Carri Richardson did, that would have never happened to me. That would have never happened to me. Because I would have said straight up, either you come deal with her or I will. And if I will, y'all better stay back. I don't want to hear no y'all want to get involved once I get involved. When you as open as Sha'Carri was doing the bullshit she did, there should have been security or something like that. They should have restrained her for her protection. Not even just for a dude. Because if a dude handles it, now you know, all y'all want to then get involved. And Dumper was for real. A lot of dudes only get involved with women or get involved with dudes that they think they can beat up. They don't get involved with dudes that they think they can't beat up. So a lot of dudes are cowards with that anyway. But my point is, you know, dudes, a lot of dudes don't want to do this. When it comes to walking your chick emotionally, dudes don't want to do that, man. Dudes are not trying to be that guy and trying to do all of that. They not, because it's childish. If you need to be emotionally walked like that and you dealing with dudes that's just who they are, this is why they like the bad boys. But see, my problem is you like bad boys, but we're constantly inundated where men are abusive. You like abuse. Bad boys equal abuse. They act like there's a difference between a bad boy and yo, one of the most annoying songs. There's two songs I can't stand. There's actually a couple. Some from Billie Eilish, but these two songs, Mariah Carey's Dangerous, talk about I like them dangerous. You ain't been with one dangerous nigga if you do not shut all the way the fuck up talk with that bullshit. You got with Nick fucking Cannon. Talk about I like them dangerous. I'm lucky they're a dangerous guy. Bitch, sit your old ass down, Mariah. Go listen to that song, Honey, as an adult and tell me what that song was about. And then Doechii. Those are two annoying songs. The main one I want to talking about anxiety. Can't stand that bullshit. I'm tired of these women that can't sing, you know, too, just being promoted. But anyway, yeah, y'all want dangerous men, but y'all don't want what comes with that. So basically, y'all got good dudes paying taxes for social taxes for the dudes y'all dealing with. If you like NBA YoungBoy, then you like niggas with dirty dick. You like niggas with multiple kids. Same thing with Future. Future a trick. That's why when niggas start talking about passport bros, I'm like, what is the real issue? If them niggas are lame in their tricks, then they're self-deporting. Don't you want men to self-deport? Don't you want the lames, the losers, and the bums to get out of the system voluntarily? Don't you want that? Why are you fighting for lames and simps? If it is true that Jason Black was dealing with a chick that's got 5 kids with another nigga, you cannot tell me shit about niggas going overseas, man. Yeah, that's my dryer, my washer. My washer's always been like that. I'm gonna start calling it Keisha washer. It just gets angry for no reason while it's doing work. I should do an AI image of walking. Sometimes you gotta walk your bitch emotionally. Nice guys don't walk they bitch. Sometimes you gotta put your hoe through some shit. It's good for her. She'll thank you later. Oh, that's not true. That's not true. Kevin Samuels went show after show after show of chicks that were with dudes for years, had babies by dudes for years, and they were all abusive. You see a social media trend going around: abusive men are never single. Man, DDG pulled Haley Bailey. DDG probably done fuck India. Like, come on. Again, DDG is a perfect example that shit don't mean shit. Niggas be throwing the lane card out on some hating ass shit. I love it because that proved everything. I've been told y'all that shit ain't don't mean what they try to say that shit mean. Nigga, you a lame. That's code for I don't like you, nigga. So I'ma say something you can't argue against. And DDG ain't no Nepo kid. So it's like DDG lost his brother. Like, so how he a lame? Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about? You didn't see DDG interact with chicks. Like, but people, niggas hate. And because women, and that's what a big reason why a lot of them niggas like to interact with women talking about other niggas like hoes. They like being around that shit. And so at the end of the day, man, it's all about leverage, man. You have to, it's like checking your corners, and I'm not like a military person or a cop or whatever, but you have to, in a situation, check your corners and be like, yo, how do I have, and leverage is not just about, like, for instance, in sales, there's a guy by the name of Ray Higdon, really good guy, white guy, and he talks about like it's like a mindset for like this is more of a network marketing term like phraseology, but this works in anything like sales and stuff. And it's let me see if I remember. It's like the 4 P's: perspective, position, posture, and there's one other I'm missing. Pipeline. Oh, I knew I remember. Yeah, pipeline. Pipeline is basically, you working your leads. How do you generate leads? How do you, generating a lead, follow up with a lead, closing a lead? That's your pipeline. So how many leads are you bringing in? So, that'd be like me creating YouTube videos so the algorithm can take it where it takes, me distributing those videos throughout my social media, me basically, maybe commenting and stuff in order to interact with more people to individually get them to come on my channel. People that are like minded, because I could do that. Like, I could be in front of Twitter, X, and just find situations, speak on it on top of making videos about it. I mean, you kind of see that with Shay Sade on Twitter. Jada Black is on Twitter too, and he does that. The way he finds content, interacts, and then you pipeline it. So it's so you're working multiple algorithms, making a video, people interact with that via engagement. Young people call it clip farming. You saw, it's a pipeline, shorts, whatever. Making more content, whatever. Then you got position, which is important because as a black position is really the leverage part. That's the important. Perspective is the mindset. So that's more of, in the context of what I'm talking about, understanding that women use leverage. They leverage your ego. That's where the lame shit comes in, and they leverage your guilt, talking about I'm a black woman and black women are always blah 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 blah. Leveraging your ego, your guilt, and your ego. They talk about DDG. The Z's are calling it playing defense. Play defense is more about, leverage, reestablishing leverage. Posture is kind of like, it's not really leverage. It's more like, when women talk about big dick energy and shit like that, confidence. It's, and you can fake it, but it's also about leverage. Confidence is about, you have leverage and you give off an energy and aura that the young people call it, vibe, whatever, that you have leverage. And you can't really, you either have it or you don't, because women will test it. That's what shit tests are about. Position is the actual leverage. Do you have position? Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin, I have the high ground. Because he could see what you call it coming and knew what to do. Anakin shit tested it and got basically wrapped up quite nicely. Obi-Wan had position. Obi-Wan had posture. I got the high ground, don't try it. Anakin fucked around and found out. And the problem and perspective is I told you, ego and guilt on the defensive side, but on the offensive side, it's really black men don't feel, and its key word is feel. They don't feel like, they believe having leverage is bad. And here's the problem. Black men think having leverage in any situation is bad. This is why black people lean on morality. Black people think morality is going to compel people to do the right thing because it's the right thing. That is some of the stupidest shit in the world. Because you assume everybody has the same morals. Morality is subjective, dumbass. But I guess your mama didn't teach you that. Your mama didn't teach you that because that requires you to think and not feel. These women are not attracted to moral men. They're attracted to fucking scammers and shit. They're attracted with niggas that in their mind have leverage. And you ain't heard no nigga really talk about this. The closest was Jason Black with Power Dynamics. But truth be told, Jason Black, man, he uses that as a fucking slogan. And maybe he talks about it more on, maybe he talks about it more to be fair, on social media. Maybe he does. He talked about it more on his Patreon. That may be true. I'm open to that possibility. But he'll talk about that on his regular social media. And it's not communicated enough. Men are out here, most people will call it gang, but they don't ever explain it. This is me explaining what that actually means. I've always talked about my issue with people talking about self-improvement, and people always, I've gotten things where people think I be double talking with that. But the reason why it seems like I'm double talking is because it's something that's like really, really subtle. There's a difference between self-improving to increase your own leverage in it, like whatever you're trying to do, whether it's business, and you self-improve. There's a difference between trying to self-improve to be a better employee and then to self-improve in order to gain position, in order to leverage more money, to leverage a better situation. Those are two different things. And the problem is, women talk about self-improving. Women want men to self-improve, but they don't want men to use that self-improvement to increase leverage. So, for example, we live in a multicultural society. Black people are 14% of the population, meaning you have other women that are much more numerous than black men. And there's a big difference between sleeping with another race of woman and having a kid with another race of woman. See, that distinction is never drawn in the title that I just said. It's never, you can have sex with 100 white women and still have a kid with a black woman. You don't believe me? Just ask Russell Wilson. Just ask Russell Wilson. Just ask Jonathan Majors. Appreciate that, Snazzy. Just ask Jonathan Majors. Appreciate Russell Glenn for the $5. And I'm not saying that's how you should move. I'm just saying that's an option. And that option never gets talked about. It's always framed as like it's never it's and that's really the real issue. That's really the real issue. And so at the end of the day, you know, when you talk about leverage and dudes should be looking, it's not about you can abuse leverage, sure, but I'm talking about having it. And so the question is, who would you rather have it, you or the woman? Because the woman has the leverage, she's not going to respect you. Men have leverage, that's not necessarily the case. Whether it's money, so when you self-improve in order to up your position so you have more sexual leverage. And it's almost like a role-playing game where you get access to other stuff if you're willing to use it. Because a lot of dudes have the ability to do something doesn't mean they actually are going to do it. And that's also what never gets talked about. And quite frankly, black women don't want to compete for you. If black women believe that if you self-improve, you're going to force them or compel them to improve in order to deal with you, black women would rather you not self-improve. They want you to self-improve to better serve them. They don't want you to self-improve so they have a better prize to compete for. They don't believe in that. Where do you think he gonna get rich and trade you in for a white girl comes from? Red Black Expat Philippines says Shannon had leverage. He just gave it away and got screwed. Yes and no. Yes and no. And that's actually a really good thing. Shannon Sharp's situation is actually a great situation to examine. Shannon Sharp had money. But Shannon Sharp, you know, we don't judge niggas over here as far as looks. But if Shannon Sharp had to pay a chick. So let me say this. Shannon Sharp did have a capacity for leverage. But in that situation, Shannon Sharp didn't check his corners. For example, Shannon Sharp should have not dealt with that chick past the NDA. Shannon Sharp really shouldn't have dealt with that chick past an OnlyFans. Once he found out she had an OnlyFans, that this is a woman that's willing to sell her body for money. Women don't want to be on OnlyFans if they can just get the money from a regular nigga. Get the money from a nigga. They're not. She's not on. Look, she don't got a big OnlyFans like that. That chick is a basic looking ass white bitch. There's a sea of bitches on there like that on OnlyFans. And quiet as it, not that I'm on OnlyFans like that, but quiet as it's kept. A lot of your Latin women are starting to get into OnlyFans too, which is further diluting it. So clearly, you know, if these chicks can pull off a big, either get a whale or pull off a big thing like that, you know, that's ideal. They don't want to be on OnlyFans constantly hawking pictures like that. Because chances are, if they're not making enough on OnlyFans, because these chicks don't have real jobs. A lot of these chicks don't have real jobs. So if they're on OnlyFans and that's a part of their influencer stuff, then their big ticket item is them selling their body direct. Now, if they can get a dude to just give them money in the messages, they'll do that. When you see a lot of these chicks make a lot of money, they don't necessarily have a large subscription. What it is they got a couple of niggas that's just, I don't know why these niggas are giving away their money. Because I'm like, nigga, you can just go overseas. If you're going to give the money to a bitch for digital shit, you might as well just go overseas and just get the actual real thing and overpay there. But then again, those are the same niggas
Those are the same white boys, because it's mainly white boys doing this, by the way. It ain't black men doing this. It's mainly white men doing this. And that's what it's like 60% of OnlyFans is white men. So that's borne out. And I think like 16% is like Hispanic. So right there, you at like 80% right there. And then I think another good portion is Asian. It's like maybe 10% of the motherfuckers are black. And that's a big reason why black women don't do well on OnlyFans like that. But the NDA was an obvious thing he shouldn't have looked through. Because my thing is, why the fuck do you not want to sign an NDA? An NDA does not protect you against illegal activity. So if she know enough to not sign an NDA, that bitch knows too much. And then so when you dealt with her, and then you got to understand that in this market today, she has social leverage because she can be perceived as a victim because she's young. So she actually has social leverage in that way once you start dealing with her. Now the problem is, now obviously had Shannon been like, I can just deal with chicks overseas. Man, I can just deal with chicks overseas. I can just deal with chicks overseas. Then you wouldn't have an issue. If Shannon's on something, I can just deal with chicks overseas. And I ain't even saying that's all he's got to do. I'm not even saying that. That's necessarily the be all end all. But what I am saying is Shannon didn't check his corners. Shannon didn't check his corners. What time is it? Can I get what I'm trying to get? Shannon didn't check his corners. Yeah, you playing, man. Crazy, man. Yeah, that's Shannon's problem. Shannon basically got way too comfortable, and Shannon just thought he couldn't be touched. He really did. And see, and so he put himself in position where he actually gave her leverage. Like Shannon Sharp did some dumb, and he made some easy errors. Yeah, I ain't playing with that. Shannon Sharp made some easy errors, some obvious fucking errors. He really did. He really fucking did. And there's a lot of lessons you can learn with Shannon Sharp's situation. And by the way, Boston Media did a good video where Corey Holcomb kind of went through a lot of that. You know, first, you know, and the biggest thing that dudes still fall for over and over again is that is what I call couldn't be me-itis. They always think it can't be them. And even Monique was talking about Shannon Sharp, and we were playing clips of Shannon Sharp talking about dealing with younger chicks. And it's like, nigga, you going as young as 19? That's a lot for a 57 years old. Like, damn, I'm out here in the rain and shit. That's a lot for a 56. It's like, nigga, he gave basically cause having leverage is one thing, but you gotta maintain that shit. And the problem with Shannon is these niggas get too comfortable. Shannon forgot he was a black man in America. Shannon forgot what time. Shannon forgot what time it was with all these fucking you know, like, you know what age you are, and he already, like, see, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Stephen A. Smith knows. Stephen A. Smith never forgot that Michelle Beadle situation. He never forgot it. Like, you're not gonna really catch Stephen A. Smith slipping like that. And we know Stephen A. Smith is full of shit, but you can be full of shit, but you don't catch Stephen A. slipping. It's just like when these dudes that work for MSNBC be getting like Roland Martin. They get comfortable. They never see the firing coming. Tiffany Cross, all of them, they never see it coming. Joy Reid, they never see it coming. And so, anyway, but going back to Shannon Sharp, man, Shannon Sharp made some obvious fucking mistakes. Number one, you dealt with this chick for 2 years. Number two, you paying her. So it's like, if you paying her, like, first of all, if you deal with any female, you have to know that they can, so what are you, nigga, you need to drill. What they call it? This is not a drill. Like, I'm keeping it all the way 100. You have fire drills, school shooting drills. You need to, niggas need to have if you know you out here and you fucking, you need to have the I'm pregnant drill. You need to have one of your homegirls call and be like, I'm pregnant. Nigga, how you gonna respond? That'd be a great course. But you gotta keep that shit on a secret. You can't really sell that as a course. You have to kind of buy it and bury it so a lot of people don't know. I'm pregnant drill. That's cool. We gonna get a DNA test. Just know that. Why you telling me that? I'm telling you that because I want to tell you now and not when you just have a baby and you vulnerable. That's why I'm telling you. Yeah, you need to have the Shannon Sharp. You need to have the, what if somebody say you assaulted them and you know you didn't? You need to drill. Nigga, you suck. Niggas be like, oh, what you gonna do? I'm gonna put her text messages out there. No, dumbass. Cause that ain't gonna make her look as bad as you think it is. And if that's like a kill shot. So if that don't work, you fucked.
Truth be told, people forget Shannon Sharp tried to settle that shit. Shannon Sharp tried to settle that shit for $10 million before it get public. They wanted more. You dealt with this bitch for 2 years. 2 years. I told you 2 years. 2 years. What if she recording your calls? What you know she keeping your DMs and your text messages history. You rich. You way richer than anything, and she ain't gonna get another dude like that. That's she basic. Cause if she could get another nigga, she would have got a nigga younger than you. Look, man, I love Deion Sanders. I love Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders did a lot in the game. You really think Carucci, if Carucci could be with another nigga as much motion as Deion right now, is known as younger, this like 45, you think she wouldn't be there? Carucci don't want to be forgotten, and she know her dumb ass is 37. Let's just call that what it is, man. I'm not mad at Deion. Deion got kids, he's grown. Deion ain't got nothing to prove when it comes to these hoes. Deion and dated women his age, lost 2 fucking toes. Like, let's just keep that all the way fucking 100. You know, let's Deion ain't got nothing to prove in the game no more. Why Carucci? Because Carucci, every bitch ain't been around money and shit. Tyrese found that shit out the hard. What BGS used to say about you need a woman that's actually been in the game. Tyrese found that shit out the hard way. What happens when you get a new bitch in the game? You don't know how she's going to respond. You think Deion don't understand that? I mean, yeah, I get her crying, so she laying it on thick. But you think she don't get that shit? I mean, Deion is still Deion, but let's call it what it is. You think Carucci ain't fucking some nigga? Some YN somewhere? Some YN Chris Brown lookalike? These women know everything about finding niggas that look like the niggas look like. I ain't been this shit in a minute. Yeah. So again, it's about leverage. What does Deion have over Carucci? There ain't nobody else fooling with her like that. But when Deion didn't do that NDA, when basically Deion, you know, she's seeing how much money that he about to get, she activate. Notice how when that happened, that's when she made the move. Why? Leverage. She waited till she had maximum leverage.
I'm still here. I'm at the store trying to find something. Yeah. And you got to be thinking, and unfortunately, here's the thing, man. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. You can't love somebody if you don't trust somebody. I get that. But you ain't supposed to open your heart up to every motherfucker either. I don't understand that shit. Y'all know when y'all in the game. Travis Hunter's another example. That's brutal. But yeah, when it comes to leverage, it's about leverage. Keep applying pressure, and some of this is passive. I'm not saying you got to be like hike. I ain't saying you got to be like that all the time. But what I'm saying is that's power, and that's why they always doing shit tests like that. They're like fucking the raptors on Jurassic Park. They test the electric fence, and you gotta make it consequences. This is stuff they should be telling you, but they not gonna tell you that because they want you out here, rolling your stomach over. Hold on one second. All right. Anyway, let me see what y'all talk about before I get out of here. He said, trust us. All roads lead to SYSB. How's the new nigga starting to figure out? All roads lead to SYSBM. Save yourself, nigga. Save yourself, nigga. Save SYSN. Save yourself, nigga. Fuck SYSBM. We gonna SYSN.
for shopping, food buyer, senior citizen.
No. No, I had to take care of something. And so, I mean, that's why we cover these topics. You know, people be wondering why we cover these topics, you know, with these dudes and social media. That's why you cover them. Because you need to see this stuff in real time. And it's whether it's social media or it's, you know, streaming, you see a lot of these same things. So let me see what y'all talking about before I head on out. I know I've been kind of hanging out. I'm actually been cleaning. I saw something and I gotta get me some repellent and some other shit. Handle business, y'all. Anyway, so let's see what y'all talking about.
Just regular black people who care about racism and then end up with a white partner. These.
Yeah. Anyway, this thing. Let's see what y'all got going on. Shout out to Ezreal, Ray Hanna, Ken That Boy, Joe Igmore, Diaspora, Been a Minute, Mrs. Snazzy. He did Edward gets Trump card. Yeah, I appreciate that. The point is, everything I say always comes back. I mean, and this isn't like a new concept. I'm just saying it in a new way. Like, I've always, anybody that's like my day one can tell you, the reason why I support intercultural, I was the one that brought intercultural dating to this space, which is dating within, you know, dating other black people in other cultures. Yeah, we got a tether thing, but you know, people in that bullshit, people cool. Truth be told, calling out the tether thing is going to put people on notice. That's leverage. You know, as a black community, we have a spending power. Within people that participate with selling, buying and selling with black people, that's leverage. You know, if you execute it, right? Macro leverage. I'm talking about micro leverage. So intercultural dating, interracial dating, dating passport bros. Intercultural dating is generally dating dating other cultures in the in the country. Intercultural dating. Notice how Jason Black and people like that don't talk about that. You know, because they know that basically black women got leverage over them, because they know anything they say that pisses black women off. Some are better than others, but anything they say that pisses black women off is gonna fuck with their money. That's leverage. Some people got so much leverage, it's like fucking mind control. It's mind control. Same thing with social media. You know, I hear that people are trying to ask for IDs and shit in order for you to participate on the internet. You really don't have to participate on the internet, but they have leverage. So my point is, intercultural dating, interracial dating, passport bros, so traveling, you know, dating older women, fucking for target practice, I've talked about this. Getting your sexual, how do you get your sexual needs met? Because that's leverage for women. That's why women are trying to make it so they don't want you to travel. They try to shut out, like, you know, they try to shut off, you know, let's keep it real.
They don't want to shut off porn for them. They want to shut off porn for you. They don't talk about them Zane novels or social media and how it cuts it off. I'm not saying porn is a good thing, but my point, they want to decriminalize prostitution, but it's still a crime for you to buy pussy. Leverage. Because if the law gets involved, the law is going to be compelled to deal with you because it's decriminalized for her. Which is why it either needs to be legal or illegal. No fucking decriminalization. Not for that. It needs to be legal or illegal. I am against decriminalization for sex work. It needs to be legal or illegal. So all of these things are leverage. If you a young nigga and you know if you got sexual skills, leverage. If you got money, leverage. You filter out the weaknesses you can control. Leverage. That's what's up. See, Boogie, none of them was talking about self-improvement for leverage. They're talking, even when it comes to lust, that's a sex. She's getting her sexual needs met. If she likes you, she's getting her needs met. A lot of dudes be out here thinking, if a chick wants you, that don't necessarily mean she's going to submit to you. Sexual submission is not the only submission. Women low-key need to sexually submit in order to get the most out of sex for them, which is why they pick the niggas they pick. This is why they say black people only get along in the bedroom, because they don't respect you in no other kind of capacity. So niggas be acting like, cause she fucking you, that's the be all end all. She's doing that for her. A lot of these niggas don't pick up on that. Even with white men, they do that because of their own. I told y'all this. Black women validate their feminine. White men validate their femininity. That goes back to the dog contest. That ain't got shit to do with you. Because if it did, then white women wouldn't fuck with you at all. That's some shit that's in her head. That ain't got nothing to do with you. That's a societal thing. That ain't got nothing to do with you. But man, be out here like, man, because I ain't built this and built that. You know, that's cap. Asians have done a lot. Asians have tangible buildings. The shit they say black people don't have, Asians have it. And look at how Asian women treat their men. That shit ain't got nothing to do with building. That's all cap. If that was true, no bitch would fuck with you. That's what's got white boys confused. Nobody would fuck with you, because all that shit wouldn't matter. But niggas be out here justifying women. And so my point is, all of these are leverage points. And you know how they are? Look at what these women say when you talk about traveling. They make it like you're basically sex trafficking. They don't even want to argue it. You gotta be fucking kids or you gotta be sex trafficking. R. Kelly ain't never fucking traveled. Epstein mind his motherfuckers here. They will lie. And when you understand female nature, you understand why a woman will say that. They're gonna lie. And it's like, yo, I don't want to hear nothing you gotta say.
Once you show me, oh, I was in my feelings, bitch, are you an adult? You're not a teenager. You're not a teenager. No, fuck that. I'm a woman, so I get to say whatever fuck I want to say. Intelligent women conduct themselves as such. If you can't conduct yourself as an intelligent woman, I'm not gonna treat you like one. Sha'Carri Richardson, black women are, I mean, she can be protected by social media because the reality, it don't matter. Because at the end of the day, when they're done with her, they're done with her. It won't matter. Ain't nobody sweating that. That's on black women. Because the reality is that makes black women look crazy. Once that nigga done fucking with her, ain't nobody else gonna really be fucking with Sha'Carri like that, other than other women. Because eventually she gonna get with somebody that's gonna pop her upside the fucking head. And I'm gonna tell you right now, nigga, if you fucking Sha'Carri, if you're fucking her, you not going to fucking tell me that you not manhandling her. Because women like that, that's how they like it. And it's a thin line between manhandling the chick and her basically reversing consent after the fact. So my point is, like, even that dude, I get why that dude is with her, but at the end of the day, it's like, nigga, you been with her. Like, at the end of the day, man, once you got with Sha'Carri Richardson, it's like, yo, I mean, your career is not about to be boosted. I mean, your career is based on your own performance. You being with her don't matter. If that's what you gonna do to be with her, then nigga, you don't have to deal with all of that. But the truth is, the problem is, it ain't even about dealing with that, because she's going to make it your fault, and they're incentivized to do it. Dealing with her is almost as dangerous as dealing with a white woman. And honestly, I think she's with him as a prop. I think he's a prop. I get it, he's a sprinter himself, but I personally think he's a fucking prop. Personally. And I'm sorry, man. All of that, man, I don't want to press charges, this. I don't give a fuck if he cheated. You stupid, you niggas, nigga, I'm gonna tell you right now. My new rule is, if you don't press charges, you deserve it. And if you don't press charges, I don't care. The next time somebody, the same thing with a woman or a man. If you don't press charges, you deserve it this time. And if she do it again, I don't know what the problem is. You like it. You don't get to be an abuse victim if you don't press charges. If you don't press charges, then nigga, you deserve it. I don't care. I may cover it, but I don't care. And you don't get to make it an issue later. Oh man, she's abusive. Okay, but you some random and you don't matter. Because you didn't press charges. Oh, didn't press, nah, fuck you, nigga. Nope. If you don't care, I don't care. I'm not about to take up, nah, fuck all that. Because you do that shit one time, I promise you she'll press charges on you. And when women don't press charges, it's because it's not to their, the cost of them pressing charges is not worth it. Oh, I didn't press charges on that nigga because the dick was good. Or you didn't want the money flow to stop. You didn't just press charges out of the kindness of your heart, because what the men are about their utility. If that utility does not override, if that utility overrides whatever he did, for the most part, you ain't gonna call the cops unless you want to regulate. Let's just call that what it is. Like, you see it. All these women be in these abusive relationships for years, and then they want to say it now. Bitch, why should I care now when you didn't care then? I tried to keep my family together. You shouldn't keep it. If a man puts his hands on you, unless if you are actively starting this shit, if he's just really just beating your ass like that, then no, you shouldn't stay. So if you choose, and you know that, like, this, remember guys, this is 2025. This is not fucking all that bullshit about what they didn't know is bullshit. These motherfuckers stay in these situations because they want to stay in these situations. They always trying to make that shit seem like, you know, like they just couldn't think. I couldn't think. I didn't know. Oh my god. Fuck out of here with that shit. Anyway. All right, let's go through a couple more of yours. Like, yeah, hell yeah. Cassie. I mean, they got voice things with Cassie. Cassie wanted to be a victim because people wanted a narrative to get a black man. Other than that, Cassie would be a light-skinned bitch. I mean, women don't need a beard like that, but it's more for publicity. Practice those drills like you're getting ready for foot. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm weird like that. You know, you should have scenarios. You should at least practice mental scenarios. If this happened, how would I react? Not even just on that. Like, if your car breaks down, what do you do? Do you have AAA? Do you have a nigga you can call? What friends you know? Do you have siblings? Are you caught up? Do you owe them money? Are they reliable? Do they owe you shit? Do they owe you a favor? You know, do you have a couple of contacts in your shit? Do you have the ability to change a tire? Do you want to do that rolly thing? You know, the thing that comes with the car, or do you have actually a up pusher? If you actually get into a car accident, like I'm not just talking about one, I'm talking about in a lot of stuff, like a lot of your basics. Like, see, maybe as an Uber driver, I have, you know, when I used to drive for Uber, I have a time to think about stuff. I used to have time to think about that when I used to work for home. I used to be able to think about stuff like that. And some of this stuff isn't so much, you know, I'm just thinking because I'm just thinking, but for real, what is it? Do you have this, who do you know that you can ask these questions? Now y'all got ChatGPT, so you ain't got no fucking receipts. Hell, I might do a ChatGPT. Hey man, if this happens, what are some scenarios that I could do? Do you have a lawyer? This is how men are supposed to do it. Or you learn from experience. Billion Becky to look just like it is a billion Becky. Like honestly, what Shane Sharp probably should have did was he should have minded through. He should have been older. He should have been probably 30, 32. A bitch with a kid. What's good, Chaos? You were a guy he was talking to before. Yeah, he was straight up. What's up, Marcus Brown, paying for OnlyFans? Oh, I ain't seen Marcus. What's up, Marcus? It is mostly married since. And if you look at the women that grow up, it makes sense. It do be making sense. Crying, laughing, glad you're entertained. What's up, John Report? I feel the same about you. You can't rap, but they still stuff. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying nothing about her height. I mean, she alright. She actually normal. But the thing about it is, fine that shit. No, I'm gonna stand my ground and let her hit me. In that situation with Shakari Richardson, what he should have did, he walked away because he was trying to protect her. That's why he walked away. What's up, Jet Black? What he should have did was he should have basically stood his ground and let her hit him. But the problem is that he's trying to protect her. And again, that protecting these hoes themselves, y'all gotta stop that shit. These chicks seeing red. I mean, y'all sound like females in a relationship. Oh, good. Y'all sound like females. All right, y'all. I gotta go, but I appreciate it. I'm out. This is Edward signing off. Peace.